홍동현 학생의 발표가 있겠습니다. 조금만 좀 정숙해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 자, 우주 쓰레기와 관련된 발표를 한다고 하는데요. 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
Hello everyone, we are all nations academy students. 홍동영,
강나겸.
we are going to present to you a study about space debris in the space age.
Table of Contents. Chapter 1, Introduction. Space advancement has created the problem of space debris. Numerous high-speed debris object-threaten satellites and spacecraft. This study mainly discussed the current state of space debris. Chapter 2, Theoretical Background. Number 1, Previous Studies. We reviewed a total of 5 previous studies related to space debris. These studies mainly discussed the current state of space debris, the importance of satellites, methods of tracking debris, and the growing risks of satellite collisions and orbital conditions.
Chapter 3, Main Body. Number 1, History of Artificial Satellite in Korea. South Korea began its space development recovery in 1989 and launched its first satellite in 1992. The successful launch of Nuri in 2023 made South Korea a major space power with its own launch vehicle.
Number 2, the problem of space debris. Even after operation ends, satellites remain in orbit and generate debris through launches and rocket parts, increasing collision risks. The ISS has repeatedly discussed its orbit to avoid debris.
Number 3, velocity of space debris. Space debris travels at speeds of up to 28,000 km per hour, making collisions with satellites extremely dangerous. Number 4, quantity of space debris. Space debris is rapidly increasing, over 100 million tiny fragments, with a total mass exceeding 11,000 tons.
Number 5, Generation of Space Debris. The new space era has repeatedly increased both space activities and space debris. As of 2023, about 130 million pieces of space debris are estimated to exist in space.
Number 6, SpaceX. As a result, orbital congestion is increasing, with about 55,000 satellites expected in the next decade, including around 40,000 is from SpaceX, of which 12,000 is from Starlink.
Number 7, case studies. Number 1, multiple satellite collisions have occurred. Number 2, space debris has fallen to Earth. Number 3, a US family filed a claim against NASA after debris.
Number 8, Space Debris Collection Satellite. A. SRD satellite. The SRD satellite developed by Autoscale and launched 2021 captures and removes space debris by deorbiting it. B. Modern satellite Lignosat. It was developed by NASA and JAXA. It is a modern experimental satellite which serves purpose to leave no space debris.
Chapter 4, recommendations. Number 1, research on Kessler syndrome and orbital collision models. Number 2, active debris removal technologies and demonstration studies.
Number 3, economic and social costs of space debris and management policies. Number 4, space debris observation and orbital prediction models.
Chapter 5, conclusion. Space debris has become high-risk material, traveling at several kilometers per second, where even small fragments can cause severe damage and trigger cascading collision risks, particularly in densely populated regions such as 800 to 1,000 km and 1,400 km. We need advanced removal technologies for sustainable space use. References.
Thank you for listening to our presentations.
네, 흥미롭게 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 이어서 두 번째로 명덕외고 장건 학생의 발표가 있겠습니다. 여러분들의 많은 박수를 부탁드립니다. 장건님 발표 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hello everyone, I'm Chang-gon from Myeongdeok Foreign Language High School. Today I'm going to present about a study on the development of Arctic shipping routes in response to climate change. Table of contents. Chapter 1, Introduction. The Arctic Sea route has been gaining increasing significance at the intersection of climate change, international politics, and the global economy. Finally, selecting appropriate domestic hubs in South Korea as terminal points of the Arctic Sea route is an important issue at a national strategic level. Chapter 2, Theoretical Background. 1. Concepts and background of the Arctic Sea route. As global warming has reduced the Arctic Sea ice, routes that were once impossible to navigate have become increasingly viable. 2. Economic advantages. Shorter transit times led to lower fuel costs, labor costs, and faster operating expenses. Additionally, ships can avoid paying high transit fees for the Suez Canal, further enhancing economic efficiency. The Arctic Sea route allows vessels to avoid geopolitical instability in the Middle East and the threat of piracy in the Indian Ocean, making it a potentially more stable logistics route. 3. Relationship between global warming and the Arctic Sea route. As global average temperature rise, the Arctic region is warming at more than twice the global average rate, a phenomenon known as Arctic amplification. 4. Emergence of the Arctic Sea routes as a feasible option. 5. Why Greenland is important to the Northern Sea route. America and Europe and near the center of the Arctic Ocean, ships using Northern Sea routes must pass near Greenland when entering or exiting the Arctic Ocean from the Atlantic. 6. Agreements and procedures required to use the Arctic Sea route. To use the Arctic Sea route, shipping states must enter into agreements and follow up proper procedures with coastal states such as Russia, Canada, Denmark, Norway, and the United States. 7. International legal context. 8. Previous study. Chapter 3. Main body. 1. Chinese companies operating in Greenland. While large-scale direct activities by Chinese companies in Greenland are currently limited, several investments, attempts, and projects have been identified. 2. U.S. investment in Greenland. Overall, U.S. investment in Greenland goes beyond economic benefits and reflects broader geopolitical objectives, including containing China's influence over critical mineral supply chains, securing a strategic foothold in Arctic, strengthening alliances with Denmark. 3. Major countries related to the Arctic Sea route. Russia is the most central actor in the Arctic Sea route, particularly the Northern Sea route. Canada emphasizes the vulnerability of the Arctic environment and enforces strategic vessel controls, environmental regulations, and policies protecting indigenous rights. Also, the United States is an Arctic coastal state through Alaska. Its direct geographic control over the Arctic Sea route is relatively limited. 4. Can Busan, Ulsan, and Pohang serve as terminal ports of the Arctic Sea route? Utilizing South Korean cities as the terminal ports of the Arctic Sea route offers several strategic advantages. Busan is the most promising East Asian terminal of the Arctic Sea route. As one of the world's top-ranking container ports, Busan already serves as a global transshipment hub with a well-established network linking Japan, China, and Southeast Asia. Ulsan is better suited to serve as an energy and raw material focused terminal rather than container hub. Compared to Busan and Ulsan, Pohang has a smaller port scale and limited international network, making it less stable as a primary terminal. From the perspective of the Arctic Sea route's terminal points, Ulleungdo is better evaluated as a strategic auxiliary hub rather than a large-scale commercial terminal. 5. Areas of cooperation between South Korea and major Arctic states. A. Cooperation with United States. B. Cooperation with Canada. C. Cooperation with Russia. D. South Korea's strategic positioning. Chapter 4. Conclusion. As the Arctic Sea route has become one of the most significant global issues in recent years, further research is required on its causes and consequences, as well as on policies aimed at cooperation with key stakeholders and the promotion of the mutual national benefits. Chapter 5, References. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
네, 감사합니다. 이제 2부 세 번째로 신서고등학교의 신은서 학생의 발표가 있겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Shin Eun-seo from Shinsa High School. Today I'm here to talk about a study on fresh defense mechanisms and the prisoner's dilemma. Table of Contents. Chapter 1, Introduction. This paper seeks to integrate fresh theory of defense mechanisms with the prisoner's dilemma in order to develop a comprehensive understanding of human choices and psychological responses in situations of conflict. Chapter 2, Theoretical Background. 1. Sigmund Freud. Freud and his daughter Anna Freud argued that defense mechanisms emerge to reduce the anxiety that arises from such conflict. 2. Defense mechanisms. Defense mechanisms are mental processes that operate to protect the ego from external threats or internal conflict. 3. Types of defense mechanisms. A. Repression. Repression is the process by which individuals push unacceptable impulses, memories, or emotions into the unconscious. B. Denial. C. Projection. D. Displacement. Displacement is a psychological process in which an individual redirects anger or anxiety that is difficult to express directly toward a safer or weaker target. E. Reaction formation. F. Regression. G. Sublimation. H. Rationalization. It is a psychological process in which an individual creates seemingly reasonable explanations to justify themselves in order to reduce anxiety. I. Intellectualization. J. Humor. Humor is a psychological process that protects the ego and reduces emotional burden by transforming anxiety into laughter or witty expressions. 4. The prisoner's dilemma theory. It is a representative concept in game theory. It describes a situation in which two individuals, despite each making a rational choice, arrive at an overall irrational outcome. 5. Explanation of the prisoner's dilemma. Each suspect is given a choice, and the length of their sentence depends on that choice. Chapter 3, Previous Studies. Chapter 4, Main Body. 1. Application of defense mechanisms to proverb. Projection. This can be explained through the proverb, a thief's feet feel guilty. Reaction formation. It can be explained by the proverb, giving an extra rice cake to someone you dislike. Rationalization. It can be well explained by the proverb, the grapes are sour. 2. Advantage and disadvantage of defense mechanisms. Defense mechanisms reduce anxiety and stress, but it can lead to avoidance of reality. 3. Application of defense mechanisms in education, counseling, leadership, and peer relationship. In leadership, failure can manifest as denial or rationalization, but it can also become a learning opportunity. 4. Solutions to the prisoner's dilemma. In the evolution of cooperation, Robert Axelrod found that the simple tit-for-tat strategy ranked first in repeated prisoner's dilemma tournaments. 5. Contemporary applications of the prisoner's dilemma. The prisoner's dilemma is commonly used to explain the nuclear arms race between the United States and Soviet Union during the Cold War. 6. Application of the prisoner's dilemma and defense mechanisms. 7. Film cases applying the prisoner's lemma and defense mechanisms. A. Examples in which the prisoner's lemma is applied. Appropriate application, leniency. The leniency system represents an appropriate application of the prisoner's lemma. Among 57 news articles that apply the prisoner's lemma concept appropriately, 12 address the leniency system, making it the most frequently discussed topic. B. Example of the application of defense mechanisms. In The Dark Knight, defense mechanisms are applied, a classic example of denial in response to the loss of love. Chapter 5, Conclusion. Through this approach, the study proposed a novel interpretive framework that integrates psychological and game theory, contributing to a bolder understanding of human behavior. References. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
네, 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 다음 네 번째 발표자는 서울국제고등학교의 조수빈 학생입니다. 박수로 맞이해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Subin Cho. I am third grade in Seoul Global High School. Today, I will present my research has that were truly ended, structural factors behind the failure of peace in interwar Germany. Here's my contents. The purpose of this research to examine why peace failed to become firmly established in interwar Germany after World War I. I focus on the relationship between economic instability and political distrust by analyzing historical documents and previous academic studies. Although World War I officially ended, Germany continued to experience political distrust and economic instability and social unrest. This made me question whether peace in interwar Germany truly exists beyond the institutional level. Previous studies explained that nationalism, economic instability, and political instability contribute to the collapse of Weimar Republic. Building on these studies, my research focused on how economic instability and nationalist discourse weaken peace. The main body of my research is divided into four sections: post-war condition, economic instability, nationalism and political radicalization, the limits of the concept of peace in interwar Germany. After Germany's defeat in World War I, the Weimar Republic was established. However, Germany faced inflation, unemployment, political distrust, and social instability. The Treaty of Versailles also imposed heavy reparation and military restriction while Germany experienced international isolation. As a result, many Germans believe that the post-war international order treated Germany unfairly. The reparation system created serious problems in Germany. During the hyperinflation, the Great Depression, many Germans lost savings, jobs, and trust in democracy. John Maynard Keynes argued that peace could not survive without economic stability. In the consequence of the peace, he criticized the reparation system as unrealistic and dangerous. He warned that excessive reparation would create instability not only in Germany but also across Europe. Economic instability strengthened nationalist sentiment in Germany. The staff in the bank may spread the belief in Germany have been betrayed internally rather than militarily. At this trust, democracy increased, radical political movements gained supported. In this environment, Adolf Hitler and Nazi Party promised to restore German pride and overcome the Versailles system. Although peace officially exists after World War I, German society continued to experience instability and conflict. Economic insecurity and nationalist discourse reinforce each other, preventing peace from becoming socially established. This shows that peace requires not only the absence of war, but also a social stability and political trust. In conclusion, peace in interwar Germany exists officially but not socially. Economic instability and nationalism weaken trust in democracy and contribute to political radicalization. This case demonstrates that sustainable peace requires economic stability, political legitimacy, and social trust, and not simply the absence of war. Thank you for listening.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서 5번째 발표입니다. 네, 중국 유학생이고요. 대원외고에 재학 중인 장페이 학생이 너찌와 관련한 발표를 한다고 하는데요. 많은 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Good morning, teachers and classmates. My name is Zhang Bei. She comes from China, and I also comes from Taiwan Foreign Language High School. So today I will talk about behavioral economics and the powerful idea called nudge. So what is behavioral economics? Traditional economics believes that people are perfectly rational, always making the better choices for themselves. But behavioral economics says no. Real people make decisions influenced by their habits, feelings, and mental shortcuts, which it combines economics and technology to explain why we act the way we do. So let's look at the history. Long time ago, economists thought humans are homo economicus, fully rational and self-interested. But later, many scholars found that technology plays a big role in economic choices. So today, we know our thinking is shaped by heuristics or mental shortcuts, which often lead to biases. So 2 scholars changed this field. First, Daniel Kahneman. This guy won the Nobel Prize in 2002. He told us that decisions come from 2 systems. First is fast intuitive thinking and slow logical thinking. He also created a prospect theory, which means loses more than gains feel good. And second, Richard Taylor. He won the Nobel Prize in 2017. And he's the father of nudge theory. He said there's a big difference between ideal, rational people and real humans who make mistakes in their life. His most famous idea is nudge, guiding people to better choices without force or money. So let's see the core ideas. First, prospect theory. People hate losing more than they love winning. For example, investors sell winning stocks too early, but they keep losing stocks too long. So why? And golfers plays better to avoid par than to get birdie, all because of lose aversion. Second, heuristics and biases. Heuristics are mental shortcuts that helps us decide fast, but they cause biases. For example, the availability heuristics makes us fear plane crashes more than car accidents because that plane crashes are more memorable. A charting bias means that we read it too much on the first number we see. Third, farming. The way you see something changes ideas. Like a salary with 90% survival sounds better than 10% mobility. And this food labor, if I sell this food, like use 17% five, they will sell better than 25% fat. Other common biases include sunk bias is that we keep doing something just we already spent time or money on it. And another one is that status bias. Status bias is that we like to keep things the same. And confirmation bias is like we only believe information that matches our ideas. So no, the most useful part, nudge theory. A nudge is a gentle push that helps people make better choices without taking away their freedom. It changes choice environments, not choices themselves. So let's see the real examples. Volkswagen turned stairs into piano in Sweden. So stair use went up 66%. And Nike put basketball hoop scans in Brazil. So lighting dropped 70%. And banks made people take their card before getting cash at ATMs. So fewer cards were left behind. How about other examples? Like 3D road pictures, like to slow down the drivers, and free Wi-Fi for seatbelt users. Okay. As you can see, all these small changes with big results. To conclude, behavior economics shows how real people decided, and it uses prospect theory, cognitive biases, and farming to understanding human behavior. Nudge is a gentle Africa way to design better policies and environments. Okay. Traditional economics tell us how people should behave, and behavior economics tell us how people actually behave. Okay. By understanding these ideas, we can make better policies and products and environments or decisions for everybody. Thanks for listening.
네, 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 이제 3명 남았는데요. 네, 미국 발도스타 스테이트 대학교 김현우 학생의 발표가 있겠습니다. 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hyunwoo Kim from Valdosta State University. This is my topic, the convergence of acupuncture and nursing, focusing on the integrated medical paradigm. These are my contents. Chapter 1, Introduction. Necessary and background of the study. Modern medicine is powerful, but it has a critical weakness. It tends to treat the body in parts and relies heavily on drugs. It has led to serious problems like opioid epidemic in United States, where millions became addicted to painkillers. The purpose of the study. The purpose of this study is proof that nursing and acupuncture are not just compatible, they are philosophically and scientifically aligned. Chapter 2, Theoretical Background. Definition and principle of integrative medicine. Integrative medicine is the framework that makes this convergence possible. It combines mainstream medical with the proven complementary therapies to treat the whole person. 4 core principles of integrative medicine. Integrative medicine is based on 4 core principles. First, whole person focus. Second, evidence-based integration. Third, preference for less invasive intervention. And next, building patient-hero partnership. The academic foundation of modern nursing. Modern nursing is not simply supporting role in medicine. It is an independent academic foundation with its own theory. Nightingale taught that healing happens through the interaction between the patient and their environment. Theoretical basis of acupuncture. Traditional acupuncture is based on the concept of meridians and the flow of the vital energy, which is called qi. The goal is to restore the balance and remove the blockage through the body. These are my previous studies. Chapter 3, Main Body. The status of acupuncture in Oriental medicine. In Oriental medicine, acupuncture has always been the first-line treatment. It is primary tool for regulating the body's own healing system. 4 modern scientific principles of acupuncture. There are 4 modern scientific principles: gauge control theory, indigenous opioids, anti-inflammatory effects, and vocal tissue changes. This mechanism help relieve pain, reduce inflammation, and promote healing. the possibility of complementing nursing and acupuncture. Nursing and acupuncture are not just compatible, they are ideal partners. Nursing provides a continuous and holistic patient care. Acupuncture provides a safe and non-pharmacological inventions. Together, they fill each other's gap and offer a more complete form of care. The complementary of modern medicine and acupuncture. Modern medicine is excellent for acute and structural problems such as surgery, antibiotics, and emergency care, but it struggles with chronic and structural conditions. Acupuncture is excellent where modern medicine is lacking. This is why they are complementary. Clinical application and institutional status of acupuncture in the US. American College of Physicians currently recommends acupuncture as the first-line treatment for low back pain. The Joint Committee requires hospitals to provide non-pharmacological pain management. The acupuncture has begun to become mainstream medical policy. Practical application of acupuncture and nursing in major US hospitals. Practical application is taking place in the US. Let's see. First, to manage the side effects of chemotherapy at the oncology center. Second, to reduce the pain and the use of narcotic painkillers at the enhanced recovery after surgery and ear application. And third, for the soldiers who are suffering from the PTSD. Conclusion. Nursing and acupuncture share the same destination. Both disciplines exist to maximize human healing and well-being. By combining these two, we can overcome the limitation of modern medicine, reduce our dependence on drugs, and provide truly patient-centered care. This is not just a research conclusion, but a direction for the future of healthcare. These are my references. Thank you for your guys' time and attention.
네, 감사합니다. 자, 이제 7번째고요. 미국 퍼듀 유니버시티 노스웨스트 재학 중인 오성찬 학생의 발표를 보시겠습니다. 발표는 동영상으로 보시겠습니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Song Chan-ho and I'm presenting on behalf of our RE 2025 team here at Purdue University Northwest. Our project is titled Agricultural Ammonia as a Sustainable Energy Source for Industrial Applications. This was a 4-person collaboration. Anna Geshma and Jessica Tech ran computational fluid dynamic simulations on 2 different ammonia-based fuel systems. Some progress focused on process, logistics, and economic evaluation. My role was developing the digital twin visualizations that connect the full pathway together. And Dr. Chen Zhou served as a faculty advisor for our project. Today, I'll walk you through all 4 components, from how ammonia is recovered on a farm, to how it burns in an industrial furnace, to how we make that whole pathway understandable to the people who need to actually develop it. The motivation for this project is decarbonization challenge in heavy industry. Heavy industrial processes such as steel and high temperature furnace operations are difficult to electrify and still need reliable fuels. Hydrogen is often discussed as a clean fuel, but it has major storage and infrastructure challenges. It requires either very low cryogenic temperatures or very high pressure storage. Ammonia is interesting because it can be stored at a much lower pressure, around 10 bar. And it contains no carbon at the point of use. So when ammonia is burned, it does not directly produce CO2 from the fuel itself. However, ammonia is not a universal solution. Our key finding is that agricultural ammonia is most competitive when the recovery site, and the industrial users are close to each other. That is why the farm-to-furnace concept focuses on co-location. This slide shows the overall logistics pathway. The process begins with livestock waste. Through anaerobic digestion, we can produce digestate that contains ammonia. Then, using a purification train, ammonia can be stripped, condensed, distilled, dried, and stored as fuel-grade ammonia. In our screening level analysis, the ammonia production cost was estimated around 50 cents to $1.50 per kilogram. The storage pressure is around 10 bar, which is much more practical than hydrogen storage. But the most important point is transportation. Our analysis showed a break-even haul radius of about 15 to 20 miles one way. That means this pathway makes the most sense when a large farm and the industrial facilities are located near each other. There are also safety concerns. Ammonia is toxic, so real deployment would need ventilation, leak detection, pressure system compliance, and regulated on-site storage. The next part of the project looked at combustion performance using CFD. For configuration A, we used ANSYS Fluent with 2D ANSYS metric single burner model, detailed chemical kinetics, and EDC combustion modeling. The goal was here to optimize the hydrogen-ammonia fuel blend. We tested ignition temperature, ammonia fraction, and inlet velocity. The optimized case was 60% hydrogen and 40% ammonia blend, with 900 Kelvin ignition temperature and 78 meters per second inlet velocity. In this case, the model NOx result was 22 ppm, which was about 40% lower than the neat hydrogen case in this configuration. Hydrogen helps stabilize the ammonia flame by improving reactivity and flame anchoring near the burner. A key point here is that ammonia contains nitrogen, so NOx is mainly connected to fuel-bound nitrogen, not only thermal NOx. This is why ammonia combustion needs careful burn design, NOx control. Configuration B studied methane ammonia co-firing at the constant power of 205 kilowatts. This part is important because methane ammonia blending could be a more practical transition pathway for existing industrial furnace platforms. Instead of replacing the whole fuel system at once, ammonia could be blended into current methane-based system. The main trend was that CO2 decreased almost linearly as the ammonia fraction increased. At 100% ammonia, the direct combustion CO2 from the fuel becomes zero. However, NOx behavior is more complicated. The model showed a trade-off between reducing CO2 and managing NOx. Around 70 to 80% ammonia appeared to be practical co-firing window in this simulation. But I want to be clear that the NOx value in this slide are model trend indicators only, because the configuration used simplified global chemistry. Also, configuration A and B should only be compared quantitatively because they use different geometry and chemistry models. This slide connects the technical pathway to economics. We used the ferro-farm anaerobic digestion and renewable natural gas system as a reference scale benchmark. The reference farm size was about 36,000 head. At that scale, the benchmark capital cost was about $18.5 million, and annual operating cost was about $925,000 per year. For the ammonia recovery part, our values are still screening level estimates, not final procurement quotes. The payback range was estimated around 1.5 to 7.6 years, depending on assumptions. The biggest economic message is same as the logistic messages. Distance matters. If ammonia has to be transported too far, the advantage decreases. So co-location between farm ammonia recovery and industrial form demand is essential. The final component of the project was the digital twin and visualization. The purpose of the digital twin was not to replace CFD or engineering calculations. Instead, it was designed as a communication tool. Major process components were modeled in Blender, including the digester, stripping tower, condenser, cyclone, distillation column, ammonia storage, and industrial furnace. These assets were then imported into Unity through FBX files to build a real-time walkthrough environment. Particle systems and interaction scripts were also used to make the process easier to understand. For CFD data, the workflow used PowerView to convert simulation results into GLTF files. So temperature and concentration fields can be visualized inside the 3D environment. This helps non-specialist stakeholders, such as farmers, regulators, and investors, understand how the farm-to-furnace pathway works. To conclude, agricultural ammonia is promising, but it is not a universal solution. First, it works best when ammonia recovery and industrial demand are close together. Second, blending can improve near-term furnace compatibility. Hydrogen ammonia blending helped flame stability, while methane ammonia blending showed a pathway to reduce CO2 in existing furnace system. Third, the teacher twin helps communicate the whole pathway from farm waste to industrial fuel. There are still important limitations. The configuration B NOx results are model trends, not validated experimental data. The two CFD configurations should only be compared qualitatively. Also, a full life cycle assessment has not been completed yet. For next step, the project should move toward pilot scale testing, physical burnout validation, detailed NOx and kinetics, and full life cycle analysis. Overall, the strength of agricultural ammonia depends on where logistics, combustion performance, economics, and communications all comes together. Thank you for your time and attention.
네, 감사합니다. 드디어 오늘의 마지막 발표입니다. 발표자는 대전의 모건대 대학원 재학 중인 투르크메니스탄 게리에바 오굴제넷 학생입니다. 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kareva Ogoljanet, and today I'm going to be presenting my research titled Comparative Study of Semantic and Pragmatic Interpretation in AI Models across English, Korean, and Turkmen languages. So basically, this research explores how modern AI systems interpret different layers of linguistic units into the images. And are they biased by the languages, different languages or not? So yeah, we're gonna look through the introduction through these table of contents, theoretical background, methodology, and results and discussions, conclusions. Before we start the research itself, like talking about research itself, we have to look through the linguistics branches, semantics and pragmatics. Semantics deals with intended direct meaning of the words, and while pragmatics deals with the intended meaning of the speaker. For example, we can see the work from Betty's 2021. You have a green light sentence. It can mean that the literal green light lighting over a person, or it can also mean in a pragmatic way, you have my permission. While humans understand this in a natural way through the context, computers need computational pragmatics in order to understand. And my research also is done with this aim, whether computers like AI models, in this case GPT and Google's Gemini, are having this computational pragmatics or not. And how to make that good prompt, while some researchers say that if your prompt is made with the familiar words of the model, that will make a good prompt. But on the other hand, some researchers say that it is not really relatable, and the outcomes of the prompts are really unpredictable. These are the prior research was done, and the methodology itself. How was the research done? We used the shot methodology, like no history background, in order to avoid the biases. And of course, it was there were 3 prompts generated, selected in 3 languages, English, Korean, and Turkmen, respectively. And they were divided into 3 categories: situational state, the semantic meaning. I was testing semantic meaning. In a category 2, homonym disambiguation and reference resolution. And category 3 was idiomatic decoding, with where I was testing the pragmatic meaning. And of course, it was used the descriptive analysis. These were the prompts. So for each category, they were selected 3 prompts and of the 3 equivalent languages. And why it's like okay. In the results. So the prompt was made. He is back from work. Here are the outcomes. As you see, the upper lines is about GPT outcomes, and the bottom line is Gemini outcomes. As you can see, both English prompts have golden retriever, the dog, in a picture, and the Korean prompts are minimalistic, and the Turkmen prompts are somehow there's a family in a third picture. So it says that our the AI models are biased through with the culture of the language the prompt was made. And category 2 was the prompt was made. There is an apple over there, and I was testing if the models are getting over their dictic marker. But it appears that none of them are have this pragmatic computational pragmatics, because as you can see, like in the first picture, there is something went wrong from the category 1, as I think, but that is the correct picture for over there, and others are not. Category 3 was the idiomatic decoding. This task is a piece of cake. I was testing if the AI models can understand the pragmatic meaning of the piece of cake, as are they getting the easy task or not, or will the results will there be a real cake in the pictures? But apparently they dealt with it really good. But as you can see in the Gemini outcomes, there are some slight pictures of food. But yeah, after all, as we saw the results of the pictures, the English and Korean ones outcomes were better, and the AI models could understand those more than Turkmen, like low resource languages like Turkmen, because yeah. And one more thing I should mention is the cultural bias. So the prompts, the AI models were culturally biased by the prompts were made, and these are the outcomes in graphs as well. Yeah, and limitations, of course, due to the short amount of time and a short, like the language. I'm sorry. It would be great if low resource languages like Turkmen were used more in this research, but due to the time and the language models, it couldn't be done. Yeah. So in a conclusion, I would say that nowadays AI models, they have this semantic and pragmatic competence, but they have they are still lacking in some areas, as you saw previously. That is pretty it. Thank you so much.
네, 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 오늘로 이제 모든 참가자 발표는 끝났습니다. 심사위원들분들께서는 어떻게 지켜보셨는지 궁금한데요. 대표로 이경만 교장 선생님의 총평 그리고 격려 말씀 듣겠습니다.
예, 감사합니다. 이렇게 모든 학생들의 노력이 눈에 보입니다. 사실 참가한 학생들의 이 수준이 중학생도 있고 고등학생도 있고 대학생도 있고 대학원생도 있고 기혼자도 있습니다. 우리 결혼하고 그리고 이 기혼자 이분은 그 기관장입니다. 기관을 운영하는 이렇게 학문을 하기 위해서 이렇게 노력하는 모습들을 봅니다. 저는 너무 자랑스럽고 너무 고맙습니다. 사실 각자 제가 우리 내빈들은 각 영역에서 다 전문가들이십니다. 아마 보는 눈이 다 다를 거예요. 근데 다 좀 관전 평을 좀 듣고 싶은데 오늘 사실 초대하지 않은 분이 갑자기 왔어요. 우리 중앙대학교 우리 대학원 경영대학원장이신 우리 케니 선생님 잠깐 나와서 한마디 하시고 돌아가실 수 있는 기회를 드리겠습니다. 앞으로 나오시죠. 다른 분들에게 이런 평을 제가 부탁드리지 않은 것에 대해서도 이해를 부탁드립니다.
안녕하십니까. 중앙대학교의 김종욱, 케니 종욱 김입니다. First of all, you worked very hard on this presentation, and I could clearly see your passion and dedication. And I have been given just a minute. I think the Professor Lee Kyungman likes Ihyori. Just a minute. He gave to me just a minute to speak. Okay. Okay. So all of the presentation topics were sufficiently engaging, and the content was rich and informative. I would like to offer just one suggestion. Rather than just reading through the material, actively explaining the concepts and stressing the key points will enhance the effectiveness of your presentation. Anyhow, you are already doing an excellent job, and I'm also excited about your future potential. Finally, a conclusion. You did a great job. Thank you very much. Okay.
네, 오늘 총평도 잘 들었습니다. 감사합니다. 자, 대회를 위해 지금까지 많은 노력을 기울여 주신 발표자분들 그리고 모든 관계자 여러분들께 다시 한번 감사의 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 또한 긴 시간 동안 이 자리에서 발표자분들의 발표를 들어주신 참가자분들께도 다시 한번 감사의 인사를 드리겠습니다. 자, 그럼 이것으로 제7회 국제학술 발표대회를 마치겠습니다. 대단히 감사합니다. 자, 이제 기념 촬영을 하려고 하는데요. 우선 참가자분들 먼저 앞으로 나와주시면 감사하겠습니다.